Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. So far, I've had the opportunity to see through a bunch of videos about the great things that were spoken for the last 2 days, and some incredible things came out of it. A lot of learning for an entrepreneur like me. I want to use the next 10 minutes to give you a very high-level perspective about what we do at OYO. But before I talk about anything about OYO, it's important for me to talk a little bit about myself. So let me take the first couple of minutes and share a little bit about myself. It seems like the clicker is having some issues. Okay, perfect. So I was born and brought up in a place called Rayagada in Odisha. How many of you have ever heard about the state called Odisha in India? Oh, that's quite a population. Well done. This is 50% of the room here. So it's in the eastern half of the country. The place has 72% population below poverty line, where I grew up. But I never thought of that as a problem. I always found that as an opportunity because I could do things that there were not enough people willing to do, the kind of things that I was willing to work for and get opportunities for. So I learned a bunch of things, but I was always that different kid. As a young Indian, I could speak Odia, Telugu, Marwadi, Hindi, and a bunch of other languages just because I had the geographical advantage of growing up in the Odisha-Andhra Pradesh border. Then I went to Kota, Rajasthan after 10th grade because there was no legitimate 11th and 12th grade opportunity in the place I grew up in. That was the time when I found the opportunity to do all kinds of new things. Long story short, I used to take weekend trains from Kota to Delhi, and I had the opportunity to watch this movie called The Social Network. In this, there was this guy called Peter Thiel. How many of you have heard about Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal? Oh, that's still 30%. So Peter gives $100,000 to 20 people under the age of 20. The acceptance rates are lower than Ivy Leagues, but the condition is you have to stop out of university. I felt this was great. You get paid not to go to university. So I was the first Asian resident to become a Thiel Fellow. I got $100,000 and got invited to the US. So for the first time in my life, I could use my passport, I got on a plane, and I came to this part of the world. And the amount of learnings I had were unparalleled. There were two big things I learned. The first, thinking big. Ever since, I have never thought of building anything that is biggest in some part of the world. From that time on, I've always thought to build something that's the biggest in the world. And second, innovation is just fine. Because in every corner of California, I found people trying to build new things. Nobody was saying, I want to emulate this from Europe, this from Latin America. And I felt that's exactly how we should be building our business. So that's what inspired me to find this very interesting opportunity called OYO. The one big learning I had when I was starting OYO, when I was 19 years old, was that worldwide there are 170 million unbranded hotel rooms, which a lot of us might imagine. But you know the more exciting thing? The more exciting thing is almost each of these chains have an average of 100 rooms or larger. What's interesting is 96% of these assets are 100 rooms or smaller. Think about Paddington, Bayswater, the South, Southeast, West, Northwest, and so many parts of the US. These small hotels have existed everywhere. But all the big hotel chains, for some reason, want to go after just that 4% market share. So I felt maybe it's my opportunity to make a difference. It was risky because very few people had adventured to go and participate in the small building segment. But honestly, I was doing this right after my 12th grade. So my downside scenario was going back to university. So I felt even if there is 10% chance of success, I'll take it. So that's what inspired me to start OYO. At OYO, our belief is fairly straightforward. Just the people from Tribeca, Soho don't deserve the best living spaces. I believe every middle-income person, the 3.2 billion worldwide middle-income population, deserves a space that is as beautiful as the ones that somebody from Tribeca or Soho can aspire to get today. That's a simple aspiration that we've had at OYO from day one. So you hear words like value chic, comfort design. These sort of give you a perspective of these are design hotels, but they're not design hotels that are so over the top that you'd want to go there only once a month. It's similar to the comfort food restaurants that you're okay going there multiple times. You'll see some of the photos of the kind of assets we manage worldwide and the multiple brands we have. I'm skipping through in the interest of time. We also manage over 300,000 vacation homes across Europe, right from the Benelux and the Nordic countries down to the south of Europe. making us the 5th largest hotel chain in the world right now. And we are jumping a spot by every 30 days. This was a report that came in a few months back when we were the number 8. This just shows you how quickly we're growing. This was a report from STR, which is a very popular hospitality review company. In the history of our company, we've never lost a single senior leader. People join and they never leave. We've been very lucky to have a management team that stands behind. I'm relatively the youngest person in the group, but almost everybody comes from a very factory, large-scale operations, as well as high amount of technology and large-scale consumer business understanding, which is what we've been lucky with. We've created over 250,000 jobs worldwide, and every 3 rooms we open, we create 1 more new job. And we feel a lot of technology companies have been blamed for being companies which grow without jobs. We wear job creation as a badge of honor for ourselves worldwide. But here we are in the US, we're talking about friendship between India and the US, so I felt I could use some of the time to talk about our early progress in US. So we want to bring living the good life here. How did assets look like earlier? This is what large number of what they're called as open corridor and some of the closed corridor hotels in the US look like. We felt we should change them. So one of the assets that you saw just behind is what became OYO Townhouse in Dallas. This is off the 75 freeway at Dallas. This asset, we were of course able to improve and upgrade the asset. The occupancy went from 18% before OYO to holding up at 90% in 3 weeks and has been the same ever since. Not bad. The asset owner who struggled to pay his mortgage earlier, which was in February with $11,000 a week, now pays mortgage for the month with a week of revenue. Not bad. But there are more like that. Mr. Usman in Houston. My favorite is this one from Killeen. Killeen is a small village. It's a veteran village or veteran countryside town right outside of Dallas. This place used to have something like 15 or 20% occupancy. And this evolved into becoming, and you see a lot of Patels here, no surprises. This is how the assets get converted once they become a part of the OYO family, and the occupancy went from 19 to 81 over a few weeks. So our perspective is, this is what we aspire to bring to every part of the world, bring beautiful living spaces, right from Texas to Tokyo. We are still in the very early stages of our evolution, and believe that while becoming the biggest hotel chain in the world, we would also be able to bring the great living spaces for common man and the mid-income population in the years to come. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come speak in front of you. Thank you.